Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Today with Baby Miss. So today I would like to question to the people about 5 years for living here in the Philippines and why he decide for move to my country.
Is that the question?
Yes.
Why did I move to your country?
Yeah,
I like the way you say country better than I do. Say country.
my country.
See, don't you love that? Country.
Yeah, my pronoun is very hard.
I like it though. It sounds
Yeah.
good. So where were we? Oh, why did I move here?
Yeah.
Well, that was basically an economic decision for me. It was all about money. I didn't want to work anymore. I had the option to stay in America. And when I was 62, I had two options. I could continue to work, or I could go ahead and collect what's called early retirement. If I had stayed on the job up to, I think, 67, I could have got more money. I could have received more money from my check. And I think every month that I waited, I would get $10 more on my check. So I really kind of struggled with that for a while. Do I want to do it now, or do I want to wait? Will I have enough money? This, that, the other. And so I fought with myself about that. On the day I turned 62, I was in line at Social Security to file. I processed that information, and I was burnt out. And I said, that's it. I'm going. I'm going away from here. It was really, I just didn't want to work anymore. And my business that I was in had gotten to be just such a pressure cooker. My family, I'd had a lot of issues with them. We won't belabor that, but I was stressed up, and I was out of gas. I was out of energy. I was out of hope almost. So I knew that I needed a change. And so I looked online at a lot of different places to go, and I figured that the Philippines was the best choice simply because of the English, number one, and number two, the affordability. Back in 2017, it was cheaper than it is now, but I knew that my Social Security check would be enough to cover, and that was why I moved here. That was it.
Okay. The first the first come to the Philippines, what the city you come?
I landed in Cebu,
Okay.
and so that's an international airport, and I spent one night in Cebu, and that was one hectic day and night. I'll tell you that much. I had a lot of adventures in just 24 hours. In fact, I did a video a long time ago about that. And then I got on a bus and I came to Dumaguete
Ah, okay.
the next day. So 24 hours in Cebu, and then 9 o'clock in the morning I was at the bus station, and I took the 6-hour ride to Dumaguete.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
So do you have a friend in here in the
I
Philippines?
didn't know a single person. I
Oh,
did not know
okay.
one human being. It was just me, myself, and I.
Oh,
All three of us right here in this body. And what I did was I got out, I think we got into town about 2 o'clock or something like that. And I didn't know anything, I'd watched videos about Dumaguete.
oh,
I'd
okay.
watched a lot of guys that lived here. 3 or 4 guys were living here. So I felt like I knew the place, but I didn't know the place. And so I just got into a trike. I knew enough to do that. And the trike driver said, where are we going? He didn't say it like that, but he was like, where are we going? I said, hotel. He said, what hotel? I said, I don't know, because I didn't book one. I said, you pick one. I figured, I don't care. I just want to go lay down. I just want to unload my luggage. I just want to get someplace, and then I want to go get something to eat. So it had been a long day. It had been
Yeah.
a 30-hour flight getting over here. I had very little sleep in Cebu. I was all wound up and keyed up, and I needed sleep, I needed rest. So I spent 2 nights at a place called the Tip Top, and did just that. I pretty much rested, went out, walked around a little bit, made some inquiries, and then I went across the street from the Tip Top, kind of across the street, to a place called the Hermogina,
Oh,
which
okay.
is a month-to-month rental place. A lot of our friends live there right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I moved in there for 6 weeks. I did not like it. No disrespect to the Hermagina. I think it had a lot to do with the apartment I had. A lot of sun came in.
Yeah.
And I could go on and on with my complaints, but I won't. But I just knew that that wasn't going to be the place for me. And then I rented a scooter, and I started just driving around. And kind of like my trike ride, I said, just take me to a hotel. I just got on my scooter, my little rental scooter, and I started driving around. And I drove around for weeks, weeks and weeks. And one day a sign went up at Highland Villas, my
Yeah,
first
yeah.
the apartment where you knew me from.
Yeah, yeah.
And it said for rent. And I just pulled over and called the number. The lady answered. She came over the next day, and she showed me the place. And I said, I'll be right back. And I went to the bank, and I forget how I did it, but I gave her the money and moved in. And I was there for 2 years. And I really liked Highland Villas.
Oh,
I
okay.
really liked it. Because I almost had the place entirely to myself. They were still building the 2 units.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was only 2 units there. And it was me and a black guy that lived next door. And he came out of his apartment like once every 2 weeks. I mean, he just stayed in there. He eventually went back to Texas or something. And he was really old, you know.
Oh.
And he lived with an older Filipina. And they just stayed home. And so it was nice, it was quiet, it was private, and I really enjoyed it. I just started to explore.
Okay. Okay. In the Philippines, what do you like for the lady? Sexy or attitude?
Well, all men are visual, so all men appreciate a beautiful woman.
Okay.
Out here, the Filipinos call it sexy, all right? It's got a little different connotation in the Philippines than it does in America. But yeah, all men like, as you put it, a sexy lady, okay, a pretty woman, attractive woman. But at the end of the day, attitude wins every time. I can tell you that there's a lot of guys in long-term relationships with women that would be defined more as average looking than really super beautiful or all this, that, and the other. A lot of problems can come with really beautiful women because they know they're beautiful and they know their value, if you will. And that's just a hard, cold fact, not only here, but across the world. And so I think anytime you want to get serious with somebody, it really has an awful lot to do with so many components. But to answer your question, I would say attitude,
Attitude.
yeah, is really the primary thing over time. Now, if you're just going to be with her for a couple of 3 days and that's that, then obviously you want the most beautiful woman you can be with. But that's not my style. I think
Yeah.
you know me, that's not my way, if you will.
Okay. So what is the better relationship? Old man or young man?
What do you mean?
Old lady or young lady?
I'm not clear on what you're asking.
For example, the single foreigner
Okay.
relationship for the
It's okay.
young one and old
Oh, okay. Okay.
old man, old young man. What is the better?
Are you asking is it better to be an old man here or a young man?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
Like the young lady or old lady.
when you're talking about men, then you're talking about ladies. So I'm
Same,
getting
both,
confused.
both.
Oh, for both.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
yeah, both.
okay. We got a multiple question there.
Sorry.
It's okay. This
More
is what we do.
practice.
This is what we do all day. She asked me one question, and I asked 9 to clarify what it meant. But it's all good. So yeah, I see. I think that it's good for both. I think both guys that come over here that are in the younger generation, if you're talking about a 35-year-old guy or a 25-year-old guy or
Yeah.
whatever you define as young,
Yeah.
is a great experience for them. They get to do all kinds of things like I do, but they can do it better, bigger, better, and faster because they're more able-bodied. So they can ride faster motorbikes, and they can hike, and they can do more activities like swimming and diving and all that. Of course, they're going to be very attractive to the females, if that's your question.
Yeah.
And so the women are, of course, going to be very interested in a young, good-looking foreigner, much more than a guy like me, who is an older, unattractive foreigner. So I guess that answers that question for the young guys.
Okay.
I don't think the young guys are necessarily looking for long-term relationships. I think they're looking to just have a good time,
Yeah.
you know. And so I'll just leave that at that. As far as guys my age coming over here, I don't have any problem with anybody's age gap relationship. For myself, though, I've tried it, and I've been there and I've done that. I got the T-shirt. I've been with younger women on dates, if you will, and there's just nothing there for me.
Okay.
That's just, I'm only speaking for me.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
talking for anybody else. But a 21 or a 22 or a 23-year-old woman,
Yeah.
25, 26, that's really kind of pushing it for me. I don't have much in common with them. I think that they tend to be more immature. And again, not everybody fits that box. I've met some 22, 23-year-old women that are very mature for their age, very intelligent, very, got their act together, if you will. So there's not one box I can put everybody into. But as a general rule of thinking or speaking, I would say 30 and over, because the woman is simply more settled with and happy within herself. She's not trying to figure out her life like a younger woman might be. She's less apt to change. If she's 35, and she's going to be pretty much the same woman at 45 if you want to look into the future. So what you got in a woman, I think, at 35 is pretty much what you got. That's pretty much her. If you look at a woman that's 25, she probably will be a different person, either to the better or to the worst at 35. She's going to change. You follow me?
Yeah, yeah.
She's going to be different.
Yeah.
I know when I was 25 years old, I had an outlook and an attitude towards life of a 25-year-old. When I turned 35, I was almost completely different outlook, totally different set of responsibilities, totally different hopes and goals and attitudes and responsibilities. And I think that applies to men and women. So for a 67-year-old guy, which is what I am now, and you're a 36-year-old woman,
Yeah.
I'm very comfortable with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be comfortable with a 27-year-old woman. I just think it's too young. And then is the physical side of that also, all
Yeah.
right? So just to not get into a lot of it, but I don't want to go off the reservation here, but a woman that's in her 20s is very sexually active, okay?
Yeah.
Younger men, as they're in their 20s and their 30s, they're much more sexually active. Where a woman that hits 35 or 36, that's less of a demand for her satisfaction, and it's certainly less of a demand for a man as he gets to that age. It's not that we can't, it's just that it's not the priority anymore. Where when you're 25, that's about all you thought about. And when you get to 65, again, there's that dynamic, that change.
Oh, okay.
So there needs to be a physical attraction between the two parties, but the priorities change. And I think
Yeah.
that's why someone that's older is actually much less demanding on me, physically and mentally. You know, you, for example, are cool with if I say I'm tired and I'm bored,
Yeah.
and I say I just want to stay home. You've never once said, you've never complained.
Yeah, I
You
never
just
argue.
said, no, that's cool. Let's just stay home.
Yeah.
You know, I'm good with that. As
Yeah.
long as we're together, you're happy.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's been days where you've said, I'm tired, you know, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't feel good. Or
Yeah.
you used to have migraines,
Yeah,
or you
yeah.
used to have a headache, or you
Yeah.
got a fever.
Yeah.
And I've done the same with you. I've said,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I'll just hang out with you.
Yeah,
You know, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
That's one of the beauties, I think, of living over here as a retired guy. I don't have any real responsibilities but to myself. And there's been times when I'm supposed to meet with somebody or do something, and you're not interested. And
No.
you're like, just go.
Yeah.
You'll stay here and clean, or
Yeah.
you'll jack around with TikTok or
Yeah.
something like that. Whatever you do, I don't know what happens. And so I'll just go off and do, whatever it is I'm doing with whoever.
Yeah.
And you don't worry about it, and I don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And over the time that we've been together, there's that level of trust that's built.
Yeah.
So,
So guys, see you next video. Bye-bye.
bye.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, to the Wed Baby Miss. So in now, Daddy Paul, I interview for experience here in the Philippines for 5 years for living. So Daddy Paul, can you share to my YouTube channel about your first time and then until and then, hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, to the Wed Baby Miss. So in now, hello everybody.